seen my channel, I have got my wonderful assistant here, whose name is
Matthew.
Okay, so I brought Matt along today. A lot of people probably have seen him on my videos before, but we thought that we would come and do a video on some gym myth debunking, because there is so much misinformation out there on the internet, and I feel like these days it's only getting more and more confusing. I think things are a lot more overcomplicated than they need to be, and yeah, I think first and foremost, everyone needs to understand that we're all very different. We all have different genetics, and there are certain things that we do. If I was to do the same workout as Matt, we're not going to look the same after, so bear that in mind. But we have our wonderful glamorous assistant behind the camera who's going to be reading out some gym myths. So, Yai, take it away.
So first question, or myth, sorry. Exercise can erase my bad eating habits. So can you outtrain a bad diet?
So can you outtrain a bad diet? Do you want to take this on away first?
Depends how bad it is. I think as a rule of thumb, I would probably say no, you can't. If you're going to smash 4 Domino pizzas, 6 Guinnesses, and a whole ghetto, you might be struggling to outtrain that. If you are, by definition, saying that bad diet is a varied diet, the one in which isn't massively high in calories, but high in low nutrient dense food, but high calorically dense food, then you can potentially outtrain that. It depends on what your league's saying, how many steps you're getting in, and how much exercise you're doing.
Yeah, agreeing with that one. I think that the one thing that Matt said that was important is it kind of depends on what you focus as a bad diet and what it is that you necessarily think you need to outtrain. I think that there is a massive stigma about a bad diet at the moment, and that doesn't necessarily mean, as Matt said, a diet that is varied, that potentially in my personal opinion, think is more healthy than one that is not. So in the grand scheme of things, you cannot outtrain a bad diet. Diet is a massive, massive, massive part of weight loss, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your specific diet is bad.
Women should lift lower weights and do higher repetitions than men.
I think that this is something that is probably talked about a lot, like what is the best thing for hypertrophy, what is the best thing for muscle growth, and depending on what this question actually means, it actually just means should a woman decide to lift lower than a man? No, I think that every person should be working to the best of their ability. One thing that I think is misinterpreted a lot in the fitness industry is people don't push themselves hard enough in their workout. That then means that they aren't getting the results that they necessarily want. So as females, we should be pushing to the best of our ability and working to what we think is our maximum level or maximum effort in certain exercises. That doesn't mean that you push yourself to fatigue every time, but I do think that my strong is not going to be the same as Matt's strong. So in the grand scheme of things, I probably am not going to lift half as heavy as Matt can, but I'm doing it to the best of my ability.
So there is a bodybuilding or a muscle building rep range. It isn't 8 to 12, like people think it is. It's more like 5 to 30. And as long as you're effectively creating overload, it really doesn't matter what kind of rep range you work in. I would say a better scale to look at would be probably RPE, and look at your.
I was going to say that.
And look at how hard you feel like you're working. So RPE, I believe, means rate of perceived exertion. Is that right? Thank you very much. So yeah, I would say work off RPE, especially as a female, due to how your hormones work based on your monthly cycle. You should use RPE. So that's probably what I'd say.
I did just do a really quick upload actually about menstrual cycle.
Plug it.
Our menstrual cycle. I'll get you guys to
Plug
attach
your
it
gram.
here.
Oh, is it YouTube?
No, it's not YouTube, it's a gram, and
Yeah,
it's Instagram and TikTok.
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok,
Us or me?
YouTube, LinkedIn,
Us or me?
Bebo,
Bebo!
and potentially
Don't touch
MySpace.
Bebo. Anyway, next.
You should always stretch before exercising.
I don't think that stretching is necessarily like the right phrase to use. I think warming up is probably a better way to go about it. You should definitely be warming up prior to your workouts, and that can include some kind of like dynamic stretching and some easy movements, but I wouldn't necessarily say stretch, but warming up, yeah, 100%.
I now always do movement prep. I think years have been abused in rugby. In rugby, has kind of made it more necessary. I find like I'm very stiff, and being able to open up the range of movement that I want to do, movement prep is very important for me.
I'll burn more fat on an empty stomach.
No.
No. Intermittent fasting, as Matt has just kind of said to me in my ear, I suppose, yeah, that is, we're looking at fasting in this instant. Fasting is utilised for you to eat in a certain window. That doesn't necessarily make any difference into the way that your body will burn fat. And I think also we need to remember that we're all general population. Remember, like, we are all general. We are all very, very low maintenance with our fitness and our exercise. We simply do it for pleasure and health. So don't overthink some of the things that you get.
So when touching on fasting, we obviously have to take into consideration we're not talking about any health benefits here. So, you know, if you want to have an argument about the health benefits of fasting and training fasted, then that's a completely separate argument, and you can have that with someone that wants to have that argument. In terms of body composition or body fat and decreasing body fat, it has no effect on fat oxidation in the body. The only thing that can really create that is the calorie deficit.
I can reduce fat in one area.
So no, we can't spot reduce fat. Something that a lot of people will come to me and say is, can I get rid of like my bingo rings or like the fat on my stomach? Unfortunately, a calorie deficit is the only way to do that, and that is going to be a case of wherever your body reduces fat from first. Unfortunately for you, it's probably the like last place that you want it to come off from. It's just always the way. For me, I hold a little bit more fat on my back. It's something that I'm not particularly self-conscious of, but I always notice it's the last place to come off. Or if I like film videos and I'm like, I can see that, but no, unfortunately we cannot spot reduce fat.
Not relevant to the question of can I spot reduce, but I would take a deeper look into why you feel insecure about certain areas and potentially look into removing those or causation from your life. So, for example, a lot of the time we have people rooted self-worth issues from conversations that we've had as children or a younger age, or someone has created an insecurity in us. And I believe you should address the way that you value yourself before moving forward. I think that fitness journeys largely interact with the mental side as well as the physical side of self-betterment, and I think one area to always look to improve will be that mental aspect, just so when you've lost weight, and naturally you will fluctuate uncontrollably because we have social events, etc., such as Christmas, for example, for me is one where I put a lot of weight on. If you don't deal with the deeper rooted self-worth issues, when it comes to those fluctuations, you're going to feel less valuable to yourself. If that makes sense.
You know, when we're here, there's not often much noise, but when we use the mics, there seems to be this man that comes around and just blows the leaves, and I can literally hear him outside, and I've never seen him before in my life, other than when I have a mic out.
No pain, no gain. So pain and soreness should be used to measure whether you've had an effective workout.
Absolutely not. I think that people often, when they first start, love this feeling, and then they decide to plan hop. So they love the feeling of being sore and feeling lethargic. And don't get me wrong, I know it can feel good. Like the next day, you're like, yeah, I've definitely had a good workout. But we tend to find that when we've had a break from doing a certain exercise. So if you are someone that plans plan hops because you enjoy that, you're not effectively working out. I think that it is as simple as no. I don't really know where else to kind of expand with it.
So I have a couple of things. My first one's muscle protein synthesis. So you only synthesize protein for, I believe, up to 48 to 72 hours. So if you're feeling sore for longer than that, you're not actually seeing the benefit from said workout. You're not recovering beyond that point. So there's no need to feel sore beyond that point. My next one would be if you are natural, aka you are not on steroids. There is a certain amount of volume that your body can handle and actually recover effectively from. From that point, it becomes junk volume and it's one of diminishing returns. We should always look to do the bare minimum input from those couple.
Lifting weights makes you bulky.
I knew this one was coming. So, first of all, bulky.
Yes, that.
Bulky as a bitch. What bulky is to you might be different to what bulky is to someone else, for a start. In a very simple form, if you are eating in a calorie surplus over a very, very long period of time, you are focusing on progressive overload for a very, very long period of time, I'm talking 5 years, then you are going to build muscle, and there is potentially someone who might say, okay, I think you look bulky. That completely doesn't matter what that other person thinks, it's completely what you feel about yourself. But going into the grand scheme of things, lifting weights is only going to benefit you. There are so many other massive benefits to weightlifting, and that can be from increase BMR, so as soon as we build more muscle, we actually also increase our metabolism slightly. We also, it's like perfect for your bones, joints, all of those other kind of things. So in the grand scheme of things, if you were to eat in a calorie surplus for a very long time, you would build muscle, yes. But remember, when you want to tone up, this is really important, when you want to tone up, what that actually is building muscle. People forget that. I get a lot of people come to me and they lose weight and then they go, okay, right now I actually feel like I kind of just look really flat, like I want to actually build a little bit of muscle. Remember that over a very long period of time, muscle will be grown, but lifting weights simply does not make you bulky. It actually, if anything, just will create a nice physique for you.
The women that are considered bulky, in my opinion, are probably very genetically gifted and you're never going to look like them, even if you try. So they probably train for many, many years, they train really hard, they intake a lot of calories and protein, and the reason that they are now at that point in which you go, she's massive, is because they've tried to get there and they're like probably top tier genetic wise. So
And potentially taking some kind of steroid.
big ass juicy words.
Morning workouts increase metabolism.
When you work out has no inherent effect on what your metabolism is saying or doing. What is probably more beneficial for you guys is to pick a routine in which actually works for you. So for example, myself, really not a morning person, and if I wake up early in the morning, I tend to be groggy, lethargic, and really struggle to have a productive day, get my steps in, get my work done. As we all know, we are normal people and we have to go to work. Unfortunately, we don't just sit around, eat optimally, and train optimally for muscle gain and fitness. So finding something that works for you around your daily routine is going to be much more beneficial. Getting optimal amount of sleep, so not buying into this hustle porn that you see at the moment where it's I need to get up at 4 a.m, take a cold shower, go for a 15-minute walk and then work out. That's not true. You can work out effectively at any point in the day. So yeah, my answer is very good as well. Okay, I'm going to pass you over to my beautiful assistant, Miss Edie behind PT.
I hope you enjoyed that. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
Anyway, I hope that we cleared up a couple of things for you guys. There's definitely a lot more that we can touch on, especially through a lot of like TikToks and things like that. So if there's anything that you guys want us to debunk, please let us know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching once again, and we will see you again very soon.